right, thank y'all for being here. Obviously, getting for it's amazing how fast this thing goes by. You're looking at week 9. We're in November. Um, as I told our guys, every game you win, the next one gets that much more important, that much bigger. Obviously, we're there now. After the game, I talked to you guys a little bit, but if you go back and watch the tape, we played poorly in all facets of the game, including me. And coaching side, it was just poor. It's probably collectively as bad as we've played all year. We found a way to win, which was huge. But we got a lot of stuff we got to get fixed. This late in the year, you really can't have outings like that. We're fortunate, and I think our kids knew it. They knew it after the game. They knew it even more so, obviously, on Monday. So we got to get a lot of stuff fixed. We got to make sure everybody's locked in, ready to go. I've talked a lot about preparation. It's been a struggle for us this year to do it the right way consistently. We got to be better, and because each week, like I said, it's you're getting everybody's best shot, and you got to be ready to play. So we got a lot of work to do, and we got to have everybody all in, ready to go, and embracing their role and whatever that is. And as I talked to him yesterday about the team aspect of things and how we go about our business, and I said this is it right now because they've communicated things they want, and they want to accomplish. And so I said, well, it's up to you guys to do that. And we all got to be in this thing together to do it here down the stretch. So, they get it. Now they got to go do something about it today at practice, because that's where we're going to get better. So, obviously going to, up to Robert Morris for the first time. We played them in the spring. I don't really know what to think about the spring, if you want to know the truth, just simply because it was the spring. Anytime you talk about spring season, you kind of is what it is. But a lot of the same guys that played in the spring, but they're playing a ton better, like a lot of folks are, than they were in the spring. They won a really good ball game last weekend. They're a good football team. They're tough. They're hard-nosed. They got a good running back, good quarterback. But at the end of the day, we got to get ready to go play, because if we don't, then, it's kind of like Saturday. If you don't get ready to go play, it's going to be what it's going to be. So we got to get ready to go play. We got to prepare better. We got to have everybody ready to go no matter what the situation, because, listen, at this level, man, you don't have a ton of depth, and we're really thin at some spots, so everybody's got to be ready. Everybody's got to be engaged. I think we got some guys back, hopefully practicing this week that we didn't have last week, and hopefully we can get ready to go. And we got to start putting this thing together down the stretch and build on one after another, and not necessarily regrouping, but building, if that makes sense. So I think that's kind of where we are. So we got a great challenge going on the road this weekend. So open the floor for questions. Well, I think early on we couldn't practice because we didn't have enough guys out there practicing. I'm not going to say it's all been because of injury. I think early on listen, we're coming out of camp and really can't go practice. We really can't do anything we can. And then you guys noted early on we had a lot of guys out, so we never got that cohesiveness. And I think this group really learning how to really go practice. Not just – and, sometimes you win games and you really hadn't done it the right way, but you're winning. So sometimes you don't really feel the consequence of maybe not preparing in the right manner. So I think, we just haven't been a great practice team this year. And, we got time to get that fixed and get it the way it needs to be. But that's one thing. It's just been I don't know. Early on, you were hoping it was because of injuries, but we got better. We got healthy. We'd spot here and there, but it just hasn't been really what it needs to be. And we still find ways to win. And then my thing to our kids, like, dude, just think if you really went and got ready to play, like what position you would put yourself in, So it's probably a culmination of things. Maybe we got some young guys still learning. But I say that we got some guys that have been around here too that know the expectation of practice. So hopefully we can find a way to get better at that this week. around here stacking days, putting a couple days in a row, a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Wednesday, Thursday, putting a couple days in a row that are everything ain't gonna be perfect, but where the mindset is right is critical for us. We gotta find a way to do that. We gotta find a way to do that.
You mentioned that you're real thin in spots. Kind of give us a rundown.
Well, I mean, the whole thing all year has been the secondary, especially at safety, and then the offensive line have just been, and then you're battling on and off, injuries, and we just have been thin. I mean, we don't have a ton of depth, and then you had a bunch of injuries, and so that's been a constant, struggle all year. And honestly, I don't think it's going to change. I think it is what it is. We're just going to have to manage it and see if we can work our way through it. But those have been the two areas all year that I think have been the thinnest. I think there's some guys we should get back practicing this week. Olu should be back practicing. Hopefully Javon will be back practicing. Hopefully Murphy's back practicing. There might be one or two others, but hopefully we'll get a few guys back. We had a lot out last week now. It's kind of felt like you started back over a little bit. And it's just been weird. It's been most everything's happened in games. It's just been one of those years. We've been fighting the good fight, and hopefully we can get some guys back this week because it'll sure help from a depth standpoint.
Well, specifically, I was looking at the two deep. We've got D'Angelo Hardy listed as the backup at quarterback right now, while Murph is trying to heal up. The way that the offense runs, sometimes you need the third guy. So, what do you like about D'Angelo's game? And God forbid Murph can't play, and then we have to go one farther. Who would be the three?
Yeah, so it's been last few weeks have been interesting. So really Murph has not been able to play for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So D'Lo's been taking all the snaps, as a backup quarterback. He's young, he's tough, a lot of confidence. He's learning. He's learning. So I think we would you kind of put yourself in a position where, all right, these are the things we know he can go do, and you kind of work around that because he's young. He just hasn't played a lot of football. If we're in that situation, Arendez Fed would be the next quarterback up because there's only 4 of them, really on the roster right now. So he would be the next guy up. Fed missed like all of camp from just different stuff. It goes back to this. It's just been something all the time. But he'd be the next guy up, if we got to that. And we've tried to get him some reps here and there. But he missed a lot early on just for some different stuff. And so it just kind of is what it is, John. You know what I mean? It's like I don't really have all the great answers right now, and hopefully we can get everybody that's available healthy and available to play, and then we'll go with it from there. So that's kind of where we are right now.
On the flip side, Robert Morris, their quarterback, has been playing very well. What do you see on tape when you watch him?
Well, he does a nice job throwing the football, and we saw that in the spring. Again, the spring's kind of is what it is, but he does a nice job throwing the ball. He's a big quarterback. They're doing some good stuff with him. They do some stuff where they move him in the pocket and do some different stuff. So he's doing a nice job. I think they're gaining confidence as they go. It's we're gonna have to go up there and play well. I mean, it's a conference game, and it's gonna be a challenge.
One last thing, and it's just a quirk, and I'm curious how you guys handle this. I was looking at the schedule, and in years past, it's like half of your games are at 1 o'clock, half of your games are at 3 o'clock, or there may be one game that is 6 o'clock or something like that. This year you go like 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. There's not any kind of consistency when it is that random. How difficult is that on game day trying to keep some kind of a routine?
I don't know that it's major. I mean, because it's going to be some semblance of that every year. Some years, like you say, there's a little more consistency on what we do. This year, we've had a lot of different, but I don't know that that's been a. I don't know that that's been a factor on anything. To be honest with you, me, if I could play like at 10 in the morning, I would. I would have no problem with it, and I'd be an early pregame. But I like to go ahead and get up and play. I don't. Because for a coach, and like if you play those later games, you just sit around and you're miserable all day because you're waiting on the game, right? And I'd rather go ahead and play. So we got our shot this week. We're playing at 12, which is, I believe, outside of the Tech game. I think this is our only other 12 o'clock game we've had, all year. So I don't know that that's had a huge factor. I mean, because we've always had the ability to adapt to that, whatever it is at whatever time, and we have a routine based on the time of the game. And we've had some times here. I don't think we've ever played at 5 o'clock here until this year that I can remember. So that was a little different, but not anything major. So I don't know that that's had an impact.
So you said that last week that there was a lot of stuff you needed to clean up in the passing game, and then you gave up 354 yards this past weekend. And you're playing a team that seemingly likes to throw the ball at least 20 times a game. Are you hoping that you can have a lot more concerns cleaned up for this weekend, or are you hoping, because another concern is if it does turn into a shootout, I mean, are you really prepared for that? Because you did just throw for 200 yards and 4 passing touchdowns.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just, how you're feeling about the passing attack of Robert Morris?
Yeah, well, I mean, if we don't clean up what we did Saturday, it ain't gonna matter. Ain't gonna matter. It'll be a long plane ride home. So we got to go fix the things that we didn't do well, and get better at them. And again, our kids see that they get that. Now they got to go do it. They got to go fix it. But we got to go fix the things that went wrong. And a lot of it is just really just not being ready to play and some attention to detail. And then there's some things schematically we got to do better. In some certain situations late, and they matched us up and put us in a predicament late in the game a few times that we got to get fixed on that end, which we will. So I think it's we got to go get better and fix the things that we did wrong, and then there's some things that we did that were positive that we got to build on. From us throwing the football, we've always done what gives us the best chance to win the game, and whatever that is, that's what we do. And we're never going to be that. If we're throwing 20 times a game, we're probably getting beat. This year we've upped that a little bit because we've been a little better at it, and we've just kind of been like decent inside, decent outside, decent. And I don't know that we've just killed it at anything. Now, obviously, Saturday, luckily, we were able to throw it a little bit, or we wouldn't have won the game. But what we got, when I told our guys, we got to get better at executing what we do. When you can go run the football, it sets up some things for you that gives you a chance to do some things, in the pass game. But you got to be able to run the ball, and we weren't very effective that Saturday. We couldn't sustain anything, which kind of forced our hand a little bit to find a way to make a play and make something happen, which is why there was probably as many throws, and that's what we had to do. But you'd like to be able to be a little more. We want to go out and be able to establish the run and let things feed off of that. And that's when we're at our best, whether that's pitches or inside run, or now we can throw because we're able to establish the run. All those things kind of feed on one another. So I think on both sides of the ball, when you go look, there's just our identity and the things we've done here that have won games we didn't do. We didn't do Saturday. Now, we found a way to win, which you can go coach off that a lot easier than you can when you lose stuff like that. But the things that we've done here that we didn't do on Saturday, we were just fortunate to find a way to win.
And then as far as finishing goes, because this team did just have it was a fourth quarter comeback, game-winning field goal. It's a big emotional win for that team. Coming up against you guys, how important is finishing this week?
Yeah, no question. I think it's always important. I think we preach it: start fast, finish fast, everything in between. We had a chance Saturday to close the game out, couldn't do it. We got up 10 points after really playing poorly, but we got up and we couldn't do it. So we got to be able to finish. We got to get started first because we didn't even start. We were down 10-0. So, I mean, there's like, when I say we didn't play very well, like, I think we got to get going. We got to get off to the right start, and then we got to be able to go finish. I think that's something we preach, and we got to do a better job of. Like I said, we really, I was proud of our kids for, you look at late in the game when you don't play very well, but when they went down and scored with whatever it was, 40-something seconds to go in the game, and we go block the extra point. It tells you a little bit about our kids in the program. I mean, we play poorly. Our kids know we're playing poorly. We go block the extra point, and then we return a kick right after that back to the 40-yard line, and we go 60 yards in 30 seconds. When we played awful, coached awful, like it wasn't very good. But on a positive note, because I could sit here and tell you all the junk that happened on Saturday, and we could be in here for 2 hours. But on a positive note, they found a way. You know what I mean? So I think that's the positive side of it. There's a ton of other things that got to be fixed, but we found a way when there looked like there was no way. So we did find a way to do that. But as I told our kids, man, I'm like, listen, guys, I always use the reference about, it's a hot stove and you keep putting your hand on it, eventually you're going to get burned. I said, boys, it's sizzling right now. Like, we got to make a change. We got to do something different. Preparation, mindset, how we're getting ready to go play. We gotta make a change, because if not, you're playing with it. Like, you might find a way to win, but then again, and in this time of year, you ain't got no margin for error now. You know what I mean? You got 3 conference games left. We got to be at our best. So, probably gave you way more than you asked for in that question, but that's kind of where we are right now.
So last one from me. Now you were saying you have 3 conference games left. 2 of them are against teams with losing records, and then that last one, that's the most important one. That's your biggest rival in the conference. I know it's important not to look ahead and look past these next 2 opponents, but you have 2 games left to get everything that you need to cleaned up before all the chips are on the table. The conference, how important are these next 2 games in build up for that third?
Yeah, so the most important thing right now is for us to have a good practice today as we prepare to go play Robert Morris. That is it. Nothing else matters. Really, all that matters right now is today. And that's all we're going to work on is today. Can we go be the best we can be at practice today? And then we're going to deal with Wednesday. After Wednesday, we're going to deal with Thursday. That's it. Nothing else. Not one other thing. If we think about anything else, we're asking for it on Saturday.
Robert Morris has improved quite a lot since last year. They're on a 7-game home winning streak. What have they done different from last year? You mentioned the quarterback. What else?
Well, I think, coming out of last year, guys, I know how it was for us, and I think we played them after they were in a shutdown for about 2 or 3 weeks in the spring. So, like, I don't know that you can really put stock into that. I think they got everybody together. They're able to practice. They're able to do the things that give them a chance to be successful. They run a good program. They're hard-nosed. And I think now they're just, and they've been in the league. They got, they played some league games last year. Now they got, so I think it's just they put themselves together and getting better. I mean, and each week you're seeing improvement, which you would expect to see out of, a good football team. And so I think that's really it right now, and it's, like I said, putting a lot of stock in the spring right now, I'll be honest with you guys. I mean, that's miserable. So I don't really, obviously we played them, but, I know how we were. I'm sure I got an idea how it was for them. So I think that's, you look at it, but that's kind of is what it is. But what you're seeing is a team with a lot of confidence right now that, as you mentioned earlier, found a way to win a game late after being behind. That's building confidence in what they're doing, and that's and you got to go on the road and play that. So I think that's the challenge.
Coach, who is Xavier Hill? Where did this guy come from? He had such an amazing game, 2 amazing grabs. Kind of talk about that guy a little bit.
Well, Xavier's been with us. He came in. He's a redshirt freshman. Ton of ability, just a lot of growing up, a lot of learning, He came in pandemic times. which was really tough for everybody. And he's one of those that, it's funny, I give him a hard time because we know he's got a lot of ability. And we've seen him do what you guys saw in practice on multiple occasions. And what we've been trying to do is gain trust in him in practice to go play so that he can go block the right guy. He can run the right route. He can do all the things, because playing on a Saturday is about trust. Can you go do your job? You may not win every battle, but at least we're not going to go turn guys loose or, create really negative situations. So I think it's been gaining trust in Xavier to go play. I think from a ball skill standpoint, I don't think that's really been the issue. It's can he go execute the offense, and do that. And so it's gotten a little bit better. And we've been talking about it even with him for several weeks, about trying to get him in and play more. And it's been one of those gradual processes. So he's done the fade balls and that stuff. Listen, he's got really strong hands. Like, his hands are unbelievably strong. And so that's what you see on some of that stuff. And we've seen it in practice. So I think the big thing is just gaining trust that he can go do it. And he did better Saturday. He had some things that, he turned a guy loose on a critical third down. He made a nice catch and then didn't take care of the ball, and it got knocked loose. So there's some things that we're growing, we're learning, that if he can go do, the more he does those things, the more he's going to play. Because I think you saw some things he can do for us, which are, you go back to when we were, back in the early days when we got to rolling, we had a guy here that you could throw it up to, number 15, and, it was good stuff. So if we can gain some trust, I think he might bring an element, a little bit of that as we go. But he's got to continue to work on the blocking, going the right guys and that stuff. And he's gotten better, but he's got to be more consistent on that. And hopefully we can play him more.
Coach, my last question. Obviously, you would have liked to have won by more against Gardner-Webb. But do you put any value in winning in a different style like you guys did through the year?
Value in winning, we won, that's value in itself, because you look at a goal board and we have all these different things, but at the top for all of them it just says win, right? And then you go through all the things that happen. So finding a way to win, I think I talked about a little bit earlier, I think is huge, especially when you play poorly. How we do it is how we got to do it. Like, if you guys have watched us now, if we could ever get our acts together, and I said but get it together and go practice the right way, offensively we can do more things. But we don't want to get pigeonholed into one thing because we're not doing the other things, which you want to be able to do inside, outside, and be able to throw a little bit as well. You do all those. That people now got to defend everything, not just an inside run or an outside run or whatever it might be. So, and I even said that to a couple position groups yesterday when I went in their meeting. As we're watching the tape, I explained, hey, this is what we can be if we'll go do these things. So I think value in winning is winning, right? Like but I think you always go back and look at the things you didn't do well and the things you did do well, and you fix them and you build, and you try to put yourself in a position to get better. So I don't know if I really answered your question or not, but we won. It was ugly, but we won.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank y'all.